Hello and welcome in. I am Miss Kinghorn and we are back here in Red Lane Zoo, and this time we are working on a habitat for the wonderful, adorable little raccoons. Now, to give you a little bit of context, this is just opposite the armadillo house habitat that we did last week, so that's just the other side of this path, and then on the other side is the Red River hog and also the wild boar, so you'll sort of see them in the background for some of these as well. Alright, so this fencing is all the same as we used last time. Now I'm not entirely sure I'd like this fencing. I've got to be fair, and I'm not really sure we're going to use it anywhere else. It feels like it's a nice fence, it's okay, but it's not really ideal, I think, going forwards and knowing kind of what kind of animals we've got coming up. So yeah, I think this might be the last time we use this in here. It's kind of a bit of a weird one because I knew when I created this that it was going to be used for the raccoons, so it needed to have like no climbable material at the bottom, which kind of meant that it had to have like plaster or metal or stuff that is not obviously not climbable, and it needed to be at least 3 meters tall, which it is, but I'm not sure going forward that I really like it. And you might be able to see in places that it's just the right height for people's heads, so you kind of like they're looking at the bar at the top rather than through the glass, so it could kind of needed to be maybe a little bit taller or a little bit shorter, but I think once I created it I was kind of stuck with it, so I just rolled with it. But let me know what you think. It might be something that I change later on, maybe, possibly, I don't know if I have time into there, but as I say, it will probably be the last habitat we use this for, at least at the time being. And then obviously copying over this sort of stalactite kind of rock wall that we have that works really well in here as a nice sort of backdrop, because it can then also sort of work in there. It's not climbable and it finishes it all off, so it gives you that nice kind of natural barrier along the back of this sort of your habitats and stuff like that. So that's why I'm using that in here, and then this is the same one that we've pretty much used in all of our habitats and all the colourings and stuff that we have into there. And you can see I have done some of the terrain work already, so there's a few little hills and little dips and stuff like that in here for you as well. Now this habitat is a little bit too big. It's a bit of an odd shaped one because I knew that we needed water, and I kind of wanted to create quite a nice sort of big family group of them, but then looking at more, they don't tend to have very large families, which is a little bit of a problem. But I think I've kind of worked it out that we kind of have like 3 different biomes in here. So we have kind of the aquatic kind of water section down here, which we're working on now. That's kind of because they require water in here. Now this is too much water, but I did this before I actually knew how many animals were going in here and kind of their requirements really. I just kind of created a little bit of a pool as per the sort of plan on zoo map that we're working off of. So that's kind of why we have this sort of area in here. And then we kind of also have a little bit of a rocky kind of, I'm not going to say alpine because that's obviously the wrong biome, but kind of a rocky kind of hilly sort of area into here, which we build up, which they can sort of climb along and walk all around and stuff like that. And the planting kind of changes for that, so it's a little bit more kind of grassy and stuff like that. And then we also have kind of like the base of it is kind of a little bit more like a meadow area in here, kind of bringing it in from some of our other habitats as well. And then in this sort of water section here, we've got some little grassy seagrass and other little plants that grow in here that obviously the animals can walk all over, and they swim through here as well. And then this is me realising that I have made a boo-boo and that I need to remove the path before placing the water and not the other way around. But I magically fix all of that in just a second into there. Right, so yeah, that's now all the water in and the terrain all sorted, and then we get in pathing, and we put all of that back so that it's fully workable and you can walk all the way around the front of here. Now in here, this sort of section up the back here, I knew I wanted lots of sort of big bushes and stuff. We didn't really have many that kind of fitted, so in the end I used the beech sapling and kind of layered them on top of each other to kind of create these really nice sort of kind of multi-height kind of bushes and sort of shrubs along the back here, which I thought worked out really well. And then, yes, you guessed it, lots of buffalo grass goes into this habitat, but also a few others. We've got some bracken and stuff which I don't tend to use, I've got to be fair. I feel like I have too much of that at work, so trying to get any of that in here is like a big no-no because it will take over everywhere. And then we also have the saltworth as well, and then a few trees along that back here, so it's kind of a little bit more woody kind of area along the back of that sort of alpine section. And then the terrain is really kind of simple with the terrain paint. It's just a little bit of soil, a little bit of sort of grass coming through, a little bit of rock here and there. And then this is the kind of mountainy kind of rocky area, and I thought we just need a few more little rocks coming through in here, so that's why we placed all of those. And then we actually get some climbing up here as well. Now I have a slight disclaimer when it comes to the climbing. So I built a little bit of a climbing frame and a little bit of a sort of climbing box, sort of nest box areas. They're completely unusable. I don't really know why, because I feel like they should be able to, and I did actually, when I was building them, you'll see it in a minute, I did search for things that were climbable, and they should have been, but apparently they just can't climb them. So I don't really know why, but we do end up with some trees, that like dead sort of trees, like the tree trunks and stuff, that I've used in other habitats, that they can climb all of that and stuff. So they have their climbing requirement, that's all sorted. It's just not necessarily the climbing we would normally want them to use, but that's absolutely fine. As they say, never work with wild animals into here. They do what they want to do, and that is very much the case when it comes to Planet Zoo as well. Sometimes it just doesn't go the way you want it to go. But yeah, lots and lots of rocks. I wanted this to be a really rocky kind of habitat in here. Kind of very different to the other one, where I think the other one was a little bit more open meadow and the rocks were kind of a little bit more subtle and pushed into the ground. This one I feel like the rocks are kind of a little bit more front and centre. You can't miss them. The animals and the keepers can walk straight over the top of them. That's absolutely fine. Into here as well. And then I love this, is a blue stem, I think it is, plant. Looks gorgeous in here, and it works out really, really well for kind of what I wanted into here. A little bit of height coming through, and then obviously the grass and the meadow. I think the buttercups, yeah, I was going to say the bright yellow, yeah, buttercups, into here, just to kind of give it that sort of meadowy, sort of open look into here, and then a few more yuccas, just to kind of give it that sort of prairie kind of openness sort of element to it as well, which I thought worked really well. And then the trees here, as I say, coming through, looking like they've maybe just fallen over or something like that as well, in amongst all of the other sort of more buried sort of planting and stuff like that too. And I think it all works out really, really nicely. And then as I say, these are the ones that they can climb, so that works in fine. And we get two of these, one here, and I'm not really sure why this one seems to be in two parts. Obviously when I built it, it maybe was standing up or something, I don't really know, but we do kind of layer that into there. And I think we end up changing the angle of that because you can't walk through the rest of it, but I fixed that into here. So yeah, this is the climbing frame that I use, and in the end we kind of go for the more Indonesian ones because I feel like that's what we've used elsewhere as well. So we do try to get in as much of these as possible into here as well. But yeah, building this with the rounded painted thick logs into here, and I end up actually changing it from this height because it looks a little bit too tall when you come back to sort of the guest view into here, and then a nice little canopy on the top. But yeah, you're never going to see an animal up here because it's just not going to work for them, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, I wanted it to all look as realistic as possible, so yeah, that's kind of why I went for this, but obviously it's not usable, sadly, but it's absolutely fine. Sometimes you just have to admit defeat, and yeah, that's what I did here. As I say, it may change, I don't know. I feel like this is kind of one of the things where I'm like, do I keep it, do I not? But yeah. So a little bit of a high sort of bar up here. I did kind of want somewhere where they could go and sleep, which is why I created these little sort of nest boxes, because I thought they would need somewhere kind of very much like the red pandas. They would like to be up, elevated, kind of in a little area, sort of a private space for them into here as well. But yeah, they don't use it. I'm not sure if it's because I use the Indonesian stained timber that they can't use it. I don't know. Is that piece climbable? I thought I searched for everything that was, and that's how I got here, but anyway. So yeah, this is what I wanted to be as a sort of sleeping box, but then nothing kind of fitted, so I ended up going for a little leaf pile, and we get this inside as well, which I thought was a really nice sort of cute little bedding kind of area to use sort of natural leaves rather than like hay and stuff into there. But I do actually change that out to the leaves inside. I change those, well, I add the leaves on top as well, so it kind of has that mixed kind of leaves and sort of the green leaves sleeping, and then obviously the added benefits of the red sort of leaves that look a little bit more realistic into here as well. And yeah, small little climbing along the bottom here, and then I copy all of this because I wanted a few more of them. So you'll see these all dotted around the habitat into here for them to sort of climb around and do lots of other bits and pieces, and then up over the back there. Now I'm not entirely sure if they can climb onto the back of that. Like, I feel like in real life they would climb on the back and then just escape, which obviously isn't really ideal, but they can't use it, so it's fine. Anyway, another little ladder into here just so they can access this one up here, which I thought was a super cute little ladder in there. And then we are off to the hard shelter in here. Now this has also got a little viewing gallery in it as well, so it's kind of not necessarily like a sleeping sort of hard shelter like I would normally do. This is an actual kind of building that's kind of open to the public a little bit into here as well. And I thought this kind of created a nice little sort of viewing area around the back here, a little bit more private, a little bit more kind of secluded for the animals as well. Obviously you've got the sort of window looking into the armadillos where they've got their indoor section as well, and then the path leading to sort of the staff area. Now you'll see in the screenshots I do actually build a fence along this back here section here that then leads to kind of like the staff areas, and we will come back and sort of finish that area off at a later date because I have ideas for what I would like in here. So in the zoo map that I'm semi-following, there is a large veterinarian hospital in here that's kind of open to the public a little bit, so it's like maybe for like horses and cows and things like that, more so than obviously your tigers or your monkeys or things like that you would normally have in a zoo hospital per se. But yeah, a sort of an area that's there for the sort of zoo, and also maybe specialising in a few other bits and pieces. But yeah, that's the plan for around the back here, but I'm not entirely sure if we're going to get it in time. Now I am conscious that we have a semi-end date to this game. Obviously with the announcement that we're now going to be on console, so if you are a console player, hello and welcome. We look forward to seeing you very, very soon. It kind of spells the end of Planet Zoo, which I'm super disappointed about, I've got to be honest. I feel like this game could have carried on. We could have had more DLCs, we could have had more animals, more updates, things like that. But I know in terms of game development, it was always going to happen. Frontier tend to have like 3 or 4 years of sort of post-release development sort of thing, and then they go over to another game. So I kind of knew we were butting up to that. Obviously we've just had our 4th year anniversary, and sadly we're not going to reach our 5th. But yeah, I think I'm gonna finish this zoo and then we'll see what we can do after then. Obviously, I don't know what game's coming next in there. I am seeing a lot of speculation about a Planet Coaster 2, which I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not a great coaster lover. I didn't do very well with Planet Coaster 1. I do have some of the DLCs, but I struggled a lot with it, and I could never make a roller coaster worth anything. So I don't know about future content for that. We will have to see into there. But yeah, let me know what you think. What's next in there? Do you have any ideas, any suggestions? Maybe of games we can try, maybe other options. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, well, we've jumped way ahead when we've done this. So this is now all of the cladding on the outside. This is quite a simple cladding, I've got to say. It is all one colour at this moment, and I don't really change it into there. But I have gone all the way around the side of this into here as well. And then we kind of have obviously all of our doors and things like that come in. It's really simple. It's just the kind of thick beam and then the really small little narrow one kind of intersected, so it's kind of got that shape and that sort of texture. And then I really like into here that we've tried to do for quite a few of the other sort of hard shelters areas into here. Now this section here on the right is kind of a keeper area. There is actually a couple of doors that I put in into here, and then obviously we have the habitat gate in here as well. Now the keepers can't actually access the indoor section, and there's nothing that they need to access in there. All of the enrichment that we place is kind of like toy enrichment rather than food, so there's no reason for the keepers to actually go in there, which I think worked out really well because they can't. Although we do have this little door here that is actually 2 meters tall, so it is quite big when it comes to the size of the animals, but in the grand scale of things it's not that big in here for obviously keepers to get into, and it is a really small simple little space into there. But we are using the kind of outside kind of fence doors that we've used elsewhere, and this is just a sort of simple copy and paste kind of look into here, and then we kind of get them on the inside so that it looks realistic as well into here. Now there are 2 sets of doors, and it was a little bit of a weird one when I actually did it because I didn't really know where I wanted the path to go. Now the path for the sort of the keepers to get into is at the very end, so they kind of have to walk down and then obviously turn right, but I have put a door straight on because the way that it all kind of works, and it looks okay with multiple doors. It feels like there's a building inside there, maybe a keeper hut or something like that, and then that they need to go to, as well as sort of into the habitat. So that's kind of what I was thinking when I did that, and I didn't want large expanses of sort of walls in there that had nothing on. And we do actually get some sort of animal information boards up on there. You'll see all of that when we come to the screenshots very, very soon. But yeah, as I say, we did get lots of leaves in here, so this is kind of a mixture of the brown leaves and then the sort of fall kind of red leaves in here, which I think work really, really well. And then some of these fallen trees that looks perfect in here for them. And then we also get another bit of climbing in here as well, which you'll see. We use the it's like a hammocky kind of swing bridge kind of thing that we actually attach to the ceiling. So we'll see all of that into there in a little while. Let's say notifications and then into there, and yeah, you'll see all of those wonderful things. And yeah, here's the bridge into here, and then we kind of join it up to this fallen tree because I knew that I didn't really want it connected to the ground, so I needed some way for them to sort of climb it. And we use another one of these trees, and then it all works in there, and they can actually use the swing bridge. So I'm calling it a swing bridge. I don't really know what it is, but yeah, that's kind of what we're going for into here as well, which I think is super cute. I haven't actually seen any of them use it, but the heat map says they can. let's put it that way. We all know what climbing's like in this game. Anyway, in there, when we actually do the roof, it kind of looks very much like the sort of roof that we have on the opposite building. So we have a plaster roof in here that kind of matches in sort of the grey that we've got on the floor, and then half about the walls as well into here. Now that's kind of my plan, and then yeah, a little bit of lighting coming through, and then also when we do all of that, we kind of attach brackets to the roof for the sort of rope to kind of hang from, so that it doesn't just look completely random into here. Now this is basically my cheat way of how I get a roof to work in here, because obviously we're not using normal roof pieces, we are using kind of a cheat way of doing it rather. So I end up actually placing a complete new group on just building a roof, simple little roof over and that into there, and then I have my kind of template of sort of angles that I need to kind of make this all work, and then we just line these pieces up on top, and then I can simply delete that roof, and voila, it's now all connected into one, and yeah, it just works into there. And then it's just a case of mixing the kind of wooden pieces up onto the outside. Obviously I could use limestone, which is what the initial build is made out of, into there, but I don't. I simply just keep it very much kind of wooden, and then a little bit of plaster, just to sort of make it look a little bit different into there. And yeah, these are the brackets that I end up creating. And it was a little bit fiddly, I've got to be honest, because we're working in such a narrow area, and the amount of times I've ended up sort of popping out the roof and you have to kind of reorganise yourself to go back in at times was a little bit of a pain, but I didn't really know what height I wanted the roof, what angle and things like that. So that's kind of why I ended up sort of having to change it a little bit into there and go in from the underneath. And now what I actually do here is just pull up the pieces that we'd already used and just kind of got those into there, so that's a nice one. And then on the inside I have just plaster, so that works in there. It does look quite dark in there, but it is actually quite light when the lights come on, which they do automatically. Yeah, so that's all fine in there. And then on this other little sort of pop out bit, I have a slightly sort of more subtle sloping roof that just sort of connects through, which you'll see in a minute. But we are quickly coming to the end of this video, so if you have enjoyed it, then please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. We are so very, very close. Well, by the time these go out, maybe we've already passed it, but to 50 followers. And as I say, you all mean so very, very much to me. So if you are one of those 49 at this moment in time, but possibly 50 by the time this goes out, and then please have a massive big thank you. You are incredible, and yeah, this journey has been amazing, and I look forward to more content in the future. But I will leave you with the screenshots. Alright, bye everyone!